everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome to the last week of Clear Your Shit. So this is going to be a reading vlog, obviously. Today is Saturday. We are starting into our last week of Clear Your Shit. We have 3 prompts left total. I am so excited to get into this. I do have 1 prompt left over from last week, but as I mentioned in last week's video, this is actually a book that I'm reading for a separate vlog, so you will see that in a vlog. Actually, hopefully was before you saw this one. Would have completed that already, but I am currently in the middle of that one. But I did want to at least get us started on our prompts so that I can go back and forth if I need to, so that we're not wasting too much time, because this is not actually a full week. I think we have like 5 days this week, because the readathon technically only goes to like the 31st, which is Wednesday. So we are now going to be on prompt number 25. It says, "You can sense there is someone in this room as you all enter. However, you can't see them. It seems even Hawthorne is victim to this, whispering nervously, 'Hello.' The pages in the room ruffle and a spinning wheel begins spinning. 'Hello, Hawthorne,' the room seems to whisper. 'We have been waiting for you. For all of you. We have written, read, weaved, understood, known you all for so long.' The phrasing here feels distracted yet intentional. Everything about this journey has felt this way, like walking in circles through some strange labyrinth, but still intentional. Threads float into the room and around the room, gleaming in various birthstone colors, avoiding your curious touches and centering in on a strange machine that pulls the threads in, and create pages upon pages with stories on them. This is the heart of the library. We are to read a book published in your birth month." My birth month is January. My birthday's coming up very, very soon. I have no idea what I'm going to be reading. So this is something that I do feel like I'm gonna need to take a little bit of time to like research into the things that I have on my TBR, only because if we were going into a book and looking through like the publication year, that's easy enough. We can even find that on Goodreads and stuff, but I do not know the months for any of these books. So I'm gonna see what I wanna read and see if anything fits the month of January, and then I will come back with my pick. Okay, everyone, I am back. I know we've done this a couple times already since we've started this TBR, but I'm gonna post a poll on Instagram, mostly because I did find a few books published in January, in different years, obviously, and I picked 4 of them to start with, and then I realized one of them that I had picked is actually in my 25 books to read in 2025, wrapped up in wrapping paper, so I don't know which one that is. So we're gonna skip that one. So I have 3 books here, and there are pros and cons for all of these, sort of. I mean, the first one that we picked, Watermoon by Samantha Sato Yimbao. This one came out January of this year. This is also the Illumicrate version, very, very pretty. This is gonna be cozy fantasy, Studio Ghibli vibes, and it is over 300 pages, but the font size is quite large compared to, I think, both of these other books. The next one I picked was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. This one came out, I think, in January of 2023 in the original hardcover. This is paperback. But again, cozy sort of fantasy, little bit of romance, I think. Lots of people seem to like it. It is, again, going to be a little bit over 300 pages, a little bit less than Watermoon, but it does look like the font is much smaller. But again, people seem to really like it. And then the last one that I have picked up here is Canadian Boyfriend by Jenny Holiday. Looks like this one actually came out in January of 2024. So I have like 2023, 2024, and 2025. And this one is obviously going to be a romance. It is also going to be hockey, which a lot of people have been loving lately. And this is more of like almost like a second chance fake dating sort of thing. I believe she told people that she was dating him when she had met him previously, and then they sort of end up working together and have to like continue fake date or something like that. Reading the back again now, she definitely told people that this is like her Canadian boyfriend, and maybe we don't have a fake dating situation, but like I'm very curious about this one. Again, this one is going to be over 300 pages, closer to like 360 it looks like, so one of the larger ones that we have here. But romances are pretty quick and easy to read for me, so I am going to be posting, again, a poll over on Instagram. I'm currently in the middle of the book that I was reading last week, or that I had talked about earlier, that is going to be in a different vlog. So I'm going to continue reading that one while we let this poll simmer. Again, I'm going to probably leave it for almost 24 hours. It really just depends on like how much I'm doing today and tomorrow with reading. But that way we have options. I think I'm going to do the emojis again because I really, really enjoy that. And I like you guys not exactly knowing which name, because I have a feeling Emily Wilde would win if I just put the name. We'll see, but I'm going to be posting that and I'll come back to you guys once you've picked. Okay, everyone, it is Sunday morning, around 11 o'clock. So I did not let it sit for a whole 24 hours, but I definitely let the poll sit overnight. And overwhelmingly, you have picked Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Again, I did emojis, so I don't know if you were able to 100% get it from that, but I mean, I do feel like it might have been a little bit obvious. I am excited for this one. The page number and font size of this makes it one of the larger books of the three that we have here, but I'm hoping the cozy fantasy vibes are exactly what I want and we sort of speed through it. I know a lot of people like this. We do have like deckled edges. It's a very pretty edition. This is the Barnes & Noble exclusive, which I don't know if there was anything else special about it or if it was just like a different sort of cover. But again, very excited to jump into this. I do need to do some editing today and tomorrow. So I'm hoping to like take turns, maybe doing some editing and then reading as I throw the book, reading in between. So that is the goal. Hello everyone, today is Tuesday. Actually, it's been a little while since I've updated you, but we are in the middle of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I'm actually on like page 124. As of last night, I did try to read this a little bit before I went to bed last night, and I'm finding it a little bit slow, and I think it's the writing style. Like, I know this is supposed to be more cozy fantasy, which I do think the vibes are there, but I do think for me personally, it feels like I'm reading it slower than I would other books. I don't think my pages, like my speed in pages is necessarily too slow. Like, I'm reading more than one page a minute. Because I do track everything with my Bookly app and it will tell me like how long it takes. But I do think it is taking longer to read. The last bit that I read has sped up a little bit. I think we're finally getting into more of what this is. But again, not even quite halfway there yet. And we still have 2 more prompts for this week. And by this week, I mean today and tomorrow. So I'm going to try and hit some of this out now and hope that I can finish it tonight, maybe? Everyone, it is December 31st, which means it's the last day of this readathon. It is Wednesday, so we're like 2 days less than a normal week for Clear Your Shit. We still had 3 prompts, and I have finally finished Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Now, I was trying to finish this last night, and I hit like just barely like midnight, and I was like, I'm gonna take a break. And I finished it this morning with like 30 minutes to go. So like it really, I could have finished it last night, but I had already hit midnight. I'm gonna give this 4 stars. I do think it was a little bit slow for me. And while I did enjoy the characters and the events and things that happened, this is written like a journal, not like strictly like that, but more like that than not. And so because of that, I kept wishing for some of the events and things that happened to be told like a normal book so that we were like in it and getting the characters like emotions and reactions currently, not after the fact with her telling us about them. So like that was my only big thing. I do want to definitely continue in the series. I was just wanting to like actually be in the action and not have it told to us. But it is following Emily and her like colleague Wendell as they're trying to like research different fae and fairies in this like specific like icy country. It's something very like Nordic-esque. And so I really did enjoy the like actual like cozy fantasy elements and the fairy creatures and things like that. I just wanted more from the writing. And it's not necessarily the author's fault, it's just because it is more written as a journal. Now, like I said, today is the last day of the year and the last day of the readathon, and we still have 2 prompts left now. Let's jump in to prompt number 26. It says, "We have been waiting for you to find us. The room whispers, the weaving doesn't stop. The library's custodian is no longer serving us well. We will need to sever her story. A loud snap of scissors closing on thread is heard, sounding as though it is right by all of your ears somehow. We would like to hire you if you will pass one last test." Well, why didn't you say so? These peasants owe me quite a lot of money at this point. We know. The whisper echoes through the room, and I feel quite satisfied that someone is validating that you people owe me money. We ask that you prepare yourselves for a test, and if you pass, you can become the new custodians. Perhaps it will curb your purchasing tendencies. The room seems to shake a little, the page is ruffling, and you realize the room is laughing. We know that it won't, though. That is very true. Well, peasants, it looks like we have to prepare for one more boss battle, assuming, of course, you want to take up the job. So for this prompt, we have a free space. Now, one thing about this readathon, all the free spaces, and there was one side quest, you do not have to do those. However, I have been doing them throughout the entire readathon, so I decided to pick something that I think is very quick and easy to read, which is going to be Watson's Sketchbook Volume 1 by Lee Knox Ostertag. So this is going to be like a graphic novel comic sort of thing from this author who is also the illustrator in the queer version of Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. Yeah, back in the day, I was very into the Sherlock fandom stuff, the books and everything as well, not just like TV shows and things, and I was definitely a reader of fan fiction with these characters, and that's basically what this is. But because it is like comics, and there are some little like dialogue and things, but it's like sketchy comic stuff. I actually have both volumes. I'm going to be reading volume 1. I do need to edit a little bit as well for tomorrow's video that will be coming out. But yeah, this should be something I can definitely get done in like an hour, probably. And then we have one more prompt still to do. So today we are getting things done. Okay, it's 4 p.m., which means we definitely still have time to finish the next book that I'm going to do. But this took longer than I thought it was going to, mostly because the kids have been needing me to do multiple things, it feels like. We did stop for lunch and everything, but I did finish it. It just, yeah, took longer than I thought it was going to. Like, I thought I was going to hit this out really quick. No. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. This is definitely for somebody who knows the like Sherlock canon stories already, like from the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle stuff, because a lot of this is actually just like snippets from the story. It'll actually like tell you, like this one is from Silver Blaze, and it will give you some scenes in the drawing style, as well as little changes potentially to dialogue, or like little inner thoughts from characters that weren't in the dialogue that lean toward it being a little bit more homosexual in nature. And I really did enjoy this. Like I said, five stars. But it's not going to be like a retelling. It's not going to be its own thing reimagined. It is definitely looking into an analysis almost of the books from this author illustrator, and it has some of their notes in it, and it's just a look into like what if Sir Arthur Conan Doyle intended for this to be gay. This is not all of it. There is a second part because like the only big story we got is like we got a little bit from A Study in Scarlet, which is like the first big novel. We also got The Hounds of the Baskervilles, but everything else is like from the short stories. I definitely want to continue. I don't think I'm going to continue today because I have something else that I need to read. But just know I loved it for what it was, but it was definitely not like its own new story or even own new short stories. It's just adding on to the other books and the other short stories. It's adding into like an analysis of it of like, what if? But I loved it. Okay, we're coming back a little bit later than I originally intended because I never read the last prompt we have, which is going to be a boss battle. I will let you know, I've already started reading my book, so we're not like too far behind, but we are officially at the end at prompt number 27. Another door opens, and after preparing your questionable weapons, seriously, did any of you think to pack better? You hear a loud roar. Hawthorne hesitates, unsure if they are meant to come with you. A thread wraps around their ankle as if answering the question. This is not for Hawthorne to battle. Hawthorne has already proven himself. Entering the room, the door slams behind all of us. A book with several bookmarks fraying at the ends, creating more loose threads that seem to have teeth, is roaring before you. It hisses and lunges and is ready to attack. Did you think you would get out of this library unscathed? So this is our final big boss battle. Again, before we started this readathon, we had the options of weapons, and so the options that you had are Sword of Destiny. Your prompt for that would be have someone pick a book out of a list for you. Number 2, which is the one that I did pick because I do like dice and I use it for my game and things like that, but you had Loaded Dice, which is to read a book with an odd number of pages or audio hours. Number 3 was Telephone Book, read a book that mentions any phone in any capacity. Number 4, Needle, read a very small or short book. That would have been very, very nice. And number 5, Empty Cardboard Box, read a book that was delivered to you, digital or otherwise. So I had picked the Loaded Dice. I obviously needed to have a book that was an odd number of pages. What I picked is the first book, which is A Psalm for the Wilde by Becky Chambers. This is the bind-up edition called Monk and Robot. So it has a Psalm for the Wilde, but also a prayer for the crown shy. So the first book is the one that I'm reading. I actually started on ebook because I do have that. And from my understanding, it has like 151 pages. I think I saw somewhere else that it could also have like 147. But again, it is short, which was part of the goal here, and it is also an odd number of pages, which is what we needed. So I am about halfway through. It has 8 chapters. I have it as an ebook that is actually a compilation of like 3 novellas. So this is the first one in this section, so I don't actually know exactly where I am, but it has 8 chapters. I'm 4 chapters through. I'm going to be starting on chapter 5 soon, so I'm calling it at about halfway through, and it took me an hour to do that. It should not have, it really shouldn't, but all day today the kids have been interrupting me with my reading time. So I'm about halfway through the first book, the only one that I'm going to be doing today. This is what I'm going to finish out the year on. So far, it's fine. I will say I think the beginning of it took a little bit for me to get into. It also had some time jumps, like at one point we start the thing and then it does a couple months time jump, and then later it does a few years time jump, and now we're sort of getting into the Monk and Robot stuff, and I'm enjoying it more, but it took a little while to get there. So I am going to finish this. The kids actually need to go have a bath and go to bed, but that's what we're reading. Happy New Year! Okay, drink. Chelsea. Oh. Happy New Year, everyone. We have made it. I did finish the first book in this one, which is what I was reading yesterday, the one book. A Psalm for the Wilde by Becky Chambers by 11:15 last night. So, we made it. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. It did start off a little slow. I think we talked about that a little bit, and I do understand why some people absolutely love this one. I think part of my 4 star is that I'm used to the Wayfarers series. Like I read the first 2 books of that one. Absolutely loved them. And these are still sort of cozy, but in a different way. I really loved the robot guy that we had in here, moss cap or something like that. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I loved once we got to like him as the robot and things like that. But I think part of this is also that it is more like existential in a way. And as somebody who is terrified of death, this did not necessarily comfort me as much as I think it was trying to. Like, I do appreciate what it was doing and the messaging and things, and I definitely want to get to the second book in this duology, but it wasn't as cozy as I wanted. I love the queer normative nature of this world because our other character, Dex, is non-binary or agender. They go by they, them pronouns, and I think at one point the robot says they don't have any gender and Dex says, me too. So I liked that. We had other characters that were readily available as non-binary characters because we just meet other characters in the periphery, but like some are sister something, brother something, sibling something, because we have Monk, Dex, and Robot. They are sibling Dex, and then we also have other people that they are selling tea to who have either Mr. or Mrs. or Mix. I don't actually know how to pronounce the MX prefix, but I liked the inclusion. I like that it is sort of a queer normative world, which is always in Becky Chambers' books that I've read, so I really love that. So we have officially finished the Clear Your Shit readathon. We did have one more thing pop up first thing on January 1st. This is going to be our conclusion, I'm assuming. We somehow survived. Not unscathed, no. There are cuts and bruises. We feel quite bedraggled. The fight was one of the hardest we have ever done, but once completed, we find the door we entered to open again. As we return to the room we came from before the fight, we find it changed. At the center, a desk, which sits Hawthorne. They have a badge, proudly stating Librarian Apprentice, and a stack of papers before them. The threads still float around the room like dust settling in the light. Hawthorne beams at all of you, pride filling the child. We have been waiting for you to finish the test. I knew you could do it, but the library and the, fates wanted to pretend you couldn't. We wanted to extend the job offer. There are lots of libraries around the universe that need help getting things in order, and you seem like the group to do it. And Ariadne, well, we hope that perhaps you could help us with being the librarian. Well, peasants, it seems a new story has begun. So I'm assuming we are going to get another Clear Your Shit readathon near the end of this year. And I'm very, very excited. This means I have officially won Clear Your Shit. I have never done that before. We have gotten through so many books. I did want to just sort of like tell you where my TBR was at the beginning and where we made it to here now at the end. And so when we first started Clear Your Shit, November 1st, I was at 606 books on this TBR. I did end up hauling 8 books during both of those months. I did not buy anything new for myself. I had 7 books that were like pre-order type things or book boxes that came in during the readathon, and I had 1 Christmas present book as well. Thank you so much, Kirsty, for that. And so I did add 8 books to the TBR, but I ended up reading 28 books, or DNFing, I DNF'd one, 28 books during both of those months combined. So my starting TBR for January 1st of 2026 is now 586, which is more than I started January 1st of 2025, but is definitely under 600, and I'm so happy for that fact. So this definitely helped me clear out some shit, and that is going to be it for me today. Oh my gosh, this was like, what, basically 9 weeks of readathons. I am due for a little bit of a break, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye!